The Mayans were an advanced group of Mesoamerican people who were literate but whose scripts and literature was destroyed due to the Spanish invasion in the 1500s. However, one of the few surviving works of the Mayans is the Popol Vuh, their religious text. Also known as the Book of Council or the Book of the Community, the Popol Vuh was written down in the 16th century by a specific group of Mayans in the highlands of Guatemala known as the Quiche. It was written in the classical Quiche language using Latin script, but its authors are anonymous. It may have been based on an older book in hieroglyphic form, but that was expanded through oral tradition. The Popol Vuh is a compilation of stories and accounts that discuss the creation of the world, the first animals and humans, the definitive story of the hero twins Hunahpu and Xbalanque, and the history of the Mayan people. It mainly centers on the twin heroes as the story constantly goes back and forth between these primary characters. The myth of the twins was meant to explain how the sun and moon came to be. The twins defeated the lords of the underworld in the famous ballgame of Mesoamerica and afterwards descend up to the earth, one becoming the sun and one becoming the moon. The Popol Vuh was written down for the purpose of wanting to retain as much information about their culture as they could while the Spanish were burning the Mayan scripts and hieroglyphs. And so the authors of the Popol Vuh found it necessary to write it down and learn the Latin script to use for writing it. They are unidentified because scribes, members of the royal family, and others were being persecuted and even killed, and in fear of this they remained unknown. It is even said in the text itself that they are hiding their faces. This lengthy document has been translated around 30 times into 7 languages in the last 300 years, but one of the more known transcriptions is of the Dominican priest Francisco Jimenez. After the Spanish conquest, indigenous elders were able to successfully conceal the Popol Vuh for 200 years in Chichicastenango, Guatemala, in order to hide it from the Christian missionaries until Francisco came across it in 1702. Able to persuade the elders to grant him permission to borrow the document so he could make a copy, Jimenez copied and translated it into Spanish. Jimenez then gave the copy back to the elders. Many use the records of Francisco to write their editions of the Popol Vuh. His copy is currently stored in the Newberry Library in Chicago. The Popol Vuh is the most significant example of Mayan literature to have lasted the Spanish conquest. Although the Spanish destroyed much of the civilization's culture, the Mayans circuitously live on through the awe-inspiring Popol Vuh. The fame and glory of this once powerful society still survives through this work's many accounts. Without the Popol Vuh, people of today would not know as much of the beauty, creativity, and the richness of culture of the Mayans.